Dear chosen one, if you are watching this video right now, know that this is not a coincidence. You weren't led here by chance. It is God who has brought you to this very moment, to this message, because an urgent prophecy is about to unfold, and it is meant for you. Receive this energy and divine prophecy by liking and subscribing to the channel, and don't forget to write your heartfelt prayers or wishes to God in the comment section below. Now listen closely, beloved. You have been in a season of waiting, and for a long time, you may have wondered why God has not yet moved in the way you prayed for. Perhaps you asked Him for breakthrough, for healing, for provision, or for an answer, but instead of instant relief, He placed you in a process. And in that process, you wrestled with doubt, with silence, and with the feeling of being forgotten. But hear the voice of the Spirit, you were never forgotten. Every tear was counted. Every prayer was recorded. Every sigh of your soul was heard in heaven. And while you felt like nothing was happening, heaven was working behind the veil. The truth is this: God uses waiting not to punish you, but to prepare you. Waiting seasons are not wasted seasons. In fact, they are sacred seasons where the deepest work of God takes place. Think of the seed buried in the soil. To the eye, nothing seems to be happening. It looks still. It looks buried. It looks as though its potential has been hidden away in the dark. But in that hiddenness, something powerful is happening. Roots are forming. Strength is being built. And soon, when the time is right, it breaks forth through the soil with life and fruitfulness. That's what has been happening with you. You have felt buried, overlooked, hidden. But God has not been ignoring you. He has been establishing roots so deep that when your moment comes, you will not be shaken. Consider the story of Joseph. He received a dream from God as a teenager that he would one day rise to prominence and that others would bow before him. But before that dream came true, Joseph was betrayed, thrown into a pit, sold as a slave, and unjustly imprisoned. For years he endured hardship and waiting. Many would have thought his dream had died. But in truth, God was preparing Joseph's character to match his calling. By the time Joseph was elevated to second in command of Egypt, he had the wisdom, humility, and endurance to carry the weight of his destiny. Had Joseph been placed in power immediately, without the years of waiting and refining, he would not have had the maturity to handle it. His waiting season was not wasted, it was necessary. And the same is true for you. God has allowed the delay not to deny you, but to prepare you for something greater. The waiting has been the training ground. You have been tested in patience, in faith, and in perseverance. And because you remained, even with tears in your eyes, even with questions in your heart, you have passed the test. Beloved, the Spirit is saying, your waiting has not been in vain. You are about to see the unveiling of why it took this long. The pieces are about to fit together. What seemed confusing is about to make sense. What seemed delayed is about to feel perfectly timed. Because God's timing is never late, and His timing is never early, it is always right on time. Think of Abraham and Sarah, who waited decades for the child God had promised. Their bodies grew old, their hopes sometimes wavered, but at the appointed time, Isaac was born, a child of laughter and fulfillment. The waiting magnified the miracle. If Isaac had come immediately, it would not have carried the same weight of glory. But because it came after the wait, it revealed God's power in an undeniable way. So it will be with you. When God moves, it will not be something you can explain by human means. It will be clear that this was the hand of God, and only God. I know you've cried, Lord, how much longer? I know you've asked, why me, God? Why do I have to wait while others move forward? But the answer is this: you are chosen for something greater, and greater takes longer. What God is building in you is not small. It cannot be rushed. It must be refined in the fire of waiting. And here's the beauty: God has been with you the entire time. He has been shaping your character, pruning your desires, and aligning your steps so that when the blessing arrives, you will be able to carry it without it crushing you. You will be able to steward it well, with wisdom and humility. Child of God, This is why you could not rush ahead like others. This is why doors that seemed right closed before you. This is why certain relationships ended, certain opportunities faded, and certain paths became blocked. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. God was protecting you from what would have harmed you, so that you could arrive at the blessing He truly had prepared. Now, the time is near. The wait is coming to an end. The dawn is breaking. And you will look back and say, it was worth it. Every tear, every prayer, every lonely night, every disappointment, it was worth it. Because what God has done in me, and what He is now releasing for me, is far greater than I could have imagined. Beloved, trust Him. You will soon see the beauty of the wait. Beloved, as you sit in reflection, let the Spirit whisper this truth to your heart: God has been writing your story in ink that does not fade. The delays, the detours, the unanswered prayers, they are all part of a masterful design that only heaven could orchestrate. You see, one of the reasons God makes His chosen ones wait is because He is not just preparing the blessing for you, He is preparing you for the blessing. It's one thing to receive something, but it's another to sustain it. And sustaining requires strength, wisdom, and maturity. Think about a parent who gives their child a gift. A loving parent knows that not every gift can be given at every age. You wouldn't hand the keys of a car to a 5-year-old child. Not because you don't want them to drive, but because the timing is wrong. If the child receives the car too early, it would destroy them. But if they wait until they have the maturity, training, and readiness, that same gift becomes a blessing and not a curse. God works with us in the same way. There are blessings He intends for you that are so weighty, so impactful, so powerful, that if they were given too soon, they would overwhelm you. But when given at the appointed time, they will lift you, expand you, and glorify God through you. This is why the waiting season matters. God was never ignoring your prayers, He was ensuring that when the answer came, it would not be wasted. Now think back over your own journey. Haven't you noticed that the waiting has changed you? You are not the same person you were when you first prayed that prayer. Your perspective has matured. Your faith has deepened. Your heart has softened in areas where pride once lived. Your discernment has sharpened. You now know what matters most in life. These are priceless treasures that can only be formed in the furnace of waiting. Beloved, remember the story of David. He was anointed king as a young shepherd boy, but he didn't step into that role immediately. He spent years tending sheep, playing music in Saul's court, and even running for his life in the wilderness. To many, it looked like wasted time. But in truth, God was preparing David's heart to be the kind of king who relied not on his own strength, but on God's strength. By the time David took the throne, he had been forged in the fire of humility, courage, and dependence on the Lord. Your journey mirrors this in its own way. That waiting, those wilderness seasons, those long nights of asking when, Lord? They were shaping you for the throne God is preparing for you. Not a throne of worldly fame necessarily, but a place of influence, responsibility, or calling that requires the fullness of who you have become in the wait. And let me tell you something else, waiting is not passive. Waiting is warfare. While you were waiting, you were not standing still, you were fighting unseen battles. You were resisting discouragement. You were holding on to hope when everything around you told you to quit. You were choosing faith in the middle of silence. That is warfare, and heaven took notice. Every time you refused to give up, you were declaring to the enemy, I still trust my God. And every time you whispered a prayer, even through tears, you were lighting a fire in the spiritual realm that pushed back the darkness. Do not underestimate the power of your endurance. It has been building a foundation for the very thing you have been waiting for. Hear me, beloved, God is not cruel. He does not delight in making you wait. He is not toying with your emotions. He is a loving Father who sees what you cannot. And because He loves you so much, He refuses to give you something before you are ready. The wait is an act of love. Now, let me reveal a mystery to you. Many chosen ones often feel like their waiting is punishment, when in reality, it is promotion in disguise. God delays the answer because He intends not just to give you a blessing, but to give you the fullness of His promise. Sometimes what you were praying for was too small. You asked for a drop, but He is preparing an ocean. You asked for a door, but He is building you a palace. The Spirit says, what you thought was a delay was me enlarging the blessing beyond what you asked for. Think of Hannah, who prayed desperately for a child. She waited year after year, mocked by those around her, misunderstood by even her husband, Eli the priest. But when her time came, she did not just give birth to Samuel, she gave birth to one of the greatest prophets in Israel's history, a man who would anoint kings and guide a nation. Had Hannah received her answer earlier, she might not have birthed such greatness. Her waiting positioned her to bring forth a child marked by heaven. In the same way, your waiting is attached to something much bigger than you think. You are not just waiting for yourself. Your breakthrough will impact generations, touch lives, and set a legacy in motion. That is why it feels so heavy. That is why it has taken so long. That is why the warfare around your life has been so intense. The enemy knows what is on the other side of your waiting. He knows what you are about to walk into. That is why he has tried to discourage you, to make you give up, to make you believe the lie that nothing is happening. But here you are, still standing, still believing, still waiting. And because you did not let go, you are about to walk into the promise. Beloved, the heavens are opening. The season of waiting is shifting. The very thing that felt delayed is being released at the appointed time. You will see it. You will hold it. You will testify. And when you do, you will say, this is why God made me wait. This is why it took so long. It was never a punishment. It was preparation for something far greater than I could imagine. So lift up your head, chosen one. Your waiting is almost over. And the reason for it will soon be revealed in glory. Beloved, let us go deeper into this revelation. Have you ever noticed how the waiting season often feels like silence from God? You pray and it feels like heaven is quiet. You fast, you cry, you intercede, and still, no answer. That silence has a purpose. It is not abandonment. It is a sacred classroom where God teaches His chosen ones to recognize His voice beyond feelings. If God answered every prayer immediately, if every request was granted at once, then faith would not be necessary. You would live by sight and not by trust. But because He loves you, He leads you through seasons where the only thing you can hold on to is His character. You may not see the answer, but you remember His goodness. You may not feel His presence, but you cling to His promises. This is how faith is forged, not in the sunshine of immediate answers, but in the night where the stars are hidden, and yet you choose to believe they are still there. The silence is not absence. The silence is training. It is in the silence that you learn to hear God's whisper. It is in the silence that you grow more intimate with Him than you ever could if everything was always instant. Think about Abraham. God promised him descendants as numerous as the stars. But then decades passed with no child. The silence of heaven must have felt unbearable. Yet in that silence, Abraham learned to trust not in circumstances, but in the one who had spoken the promise. And when Isaac finally came, Abraham could look back and see that the waiting was the very thing that solidified his faith. In the same way, beloved, your waiting is strengthening the roots of your faith so that when the blessing comes, you will not worship the blessing, you will worship the God who gave it. Now, let us talk about something many overlook. God often makes His chosen ones wait because He is aligning people, places, and timing on your behalf. You are not waiting alone. There are other moving pieces connected to your destiny. Sometimes God is preparing someone else who will walk with you into the promise. Other times He is opening opportunities, shifting nations, or changing laws to make room for what He is about to release into your life. Consider Joseph. He was given a dream as a teenager, that one day he would rule and his brothers would bow before him. But that dream did not unfold right away. He was betrayed, sold into slavery, thrown into prison, forgotten by men. And yet, while Joseph was waiting, God was orchestrating events in Egypt. He was preparing Pharaoh's heart. He was setting the stage for a famine that would position Joseph as a savior to his family and a leader in a foreign land. By the time Joseph's moment came, everything was aligned perfectly. What if Joseph had given up in the prison? What if he had lost faith in the pit? He would have forfeited the destiny that was waiting for him. But because he endured the waiting, he was in the right place at the right time when Pharaoh called. Your story is no different. God has been aligning circumstances beyond your knowledge. What you perceive as a delay is actually divine alignment. You are not late. You are right on time with heaven's calendar. And beloved, let me remind you, God is never in a hurry, but He is never late. His timing is always perfect, even when it doesn't make sense to us. Think about this, Jesus Himself waited. He lived 30 years before stepping into public ministry. For 3 decades, He lived quietly, working as a carpenter, while the world waited for its Savior. Why? Because it was not yet His time. When His mother Mary nudged Him at the wedding in Cana, He said, "My hour has not yet come." But when the appointed time did come, everything unfolded rapidly: miracles, teachings, disciples, the cross, the resurrection. In 3 years, He accomplished what eternity had ordained. You see, when God's time comes, things accelerate. What took years of waiting can shift in a single moment. That is why you must not despise the waiting season, because when the hour strikes, heaven moves swiftly. Beloved, let me speak prophetically into your spirit. The reason you have waited this long is because God is preparing to do a sudden work in your life. The kind of work that will not take decades, but will unfold in divine acceleration. You will look back and say, all those years of waiting prepared me for this moment, and when the moment came, it was worth every tear, every prayer, every night I felt forgotten. Now, hear this carefully, the waiting also reveals your true motives. When God delays, He is purifying your desires. Are you seeking the blessing, or the blesser? Are you after His hand, or His heart? Many start praying for a miracle, but through the waiting, they fall in love with God Himself. And when the miracle comes, it does not replace Him, it points them back to Him. That is what makes you chosen. You didn't walk away when the answers were delayed. You didn't quit when it seemed unfair. You didn't curse God in the silence. Instead, you kept returning to Him, again and again, even when your heart was breaking. That is why heaven calls you faithful. That is why the crown of your waiting will be so radiant. Beloved, you are closer than you think. Every moment of silence, every year of waiting, every unanswered prayer has been a seed planted in the soil of eternity. And the rain is coming. The harvest is near. So I urge you, do not lose heart now. Do not quit now. You are standing on the edge of the promise. What felt like delay is about to become divine delivery. And when it happens, you will finally understand, God didn't make you wait to punish you, He made you wait so that when the blessing came, you would carry it with wisdom, gratitude, and strength. Hold on, beloved. Your testimony is closer than you know. Beloved, lean in closely, because this part of the message carries a weight that your spirit has been longing for. The truth is, waiting seasons are often misunderstood. Many see them as wasted time, as punishment, or as evidence that God has forgotten them. But in heaven's eyes, the waiting is a sacred preparation. Nothing in God's design is wasted. Think of it like a seed. When a seed is placed in the soil, it looks like nothing is happening. It is buried, hidden, and unseen. But beneath the surface, in the darkness, something powerful is taking place. The roots are forming. The foundation is being set. If you dug up the seed too quickly, you would never see the harvest. But if you allow the hidden process to complete, in due time that seed will break through the soil and bear fruit. That is your life right now. The reason it feels hidden, the reason it feels delayed, is because your roots are growing deeper. God is strengthening the unseen part of you so that when the visible fruit comes, it will last. Many people want the spotlight, the blessing, the breakthrough, but they don't want the roots. Without roots, the blessing will collapse under its own weight. But you, beloved, are not shallow soil. You are chosen soil. You are being prepared to carry something far greater than you imagined. Now, hear this with clarity: the waiting is not just about you. It is also about those who will be touched through you. Your testimony will become someone else's survival manual. Your perseverance will inspire someone else not to give up. If you had received your breakthrough too quickly, you would not have the depth, the wisdom, and the compassion to minister to others. But because you've walked through the valley, because you've endured the silence, because you've cried in the night and still trusted God, you will have the authority to speak life into others who are waiting. This is why God has chosen you. He does not just bless you for your sake, He blesses you so you can become a vessel of blessing to others. Let us look at Moses. When he fled Egypt, he spent 40 years in the wilderness, tending sheep. To the outside eye, those years looked wasted. But in reality, those years were preparing him for leadership. He was learning patience, humility, and dependence on God. He was being trained to hear God's voice in the silence of the desert. So when the burning bush appeared, he was ready. And when it was time to lead Israel out of bondage, he carried both the authority of God and the humility of one who had been hidden and tested. Beloved, your wilderness is not a punishment. It is training. You are being equipped in the secret place so that when your burning bush moment comes, you will be ready. And do not forget this: while you wait, heaven is watching. The angels see your perseverance. God Himself takes note of your faithfulness. The book of Malachi says that a scroll of remembrance is written before God concerning those who fear Him and honor His name. That means every tear, every prayer, every act of faith in the waiting season is recorded in heaven. Nothing is unseen. Nothing is overlooked. I sense in my spirit that many of you watching this have felt invisible. You've wondered if God even notices you anymore. Let me tell you with certainty, you are not invisible to heaven. You are engraved on the palms of His hands. Your name is written in His book. Your life is precious to Him. He has been with you in every silent night, in every unanswered prayer, in every season where you felt forgotten. And soon, He is about to make it clear to you why you had to wait this long. Now, consider this: the longer the wait, the greater the glory. When Lazarus died, Mary and Martha wept, saying, "Lord, if you had been here, our brother would not have died." They thought Jesus had come too late. But Jesus told them, "This sickness will not end in death, it is for the glory of God." When He finally arrived, Lazarus had been in the tomb 4 days. It seemed hopeless. But Jesus waited on purpose, because He wanted to reveal a greater miracle, not just healing, but resurrection. Beloved, sometimes God delays so that when the breakthrough comes, it will not be ordinary, it will be extraordinary. He wants the testimony of your life to leave no doubt that it was His hand that delivered you. And let me tell you this: the longer the battle, the louder the victory. The deeper the pain, the brighter the joy. The greater the delay, the more explosive the release. That is why you cannot despise your waiting season, because what God is preparing for you is proportionate to the depth of your endurance. Hear me clearly: you are not behind. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are right on schedule with the divine timeline of heaven. Beloved, let me encourage you with this picture. Imagine a master artist painting a great masterpiece. From up close, all you may see are confusing brushstrokes, dark colors here, sharp lines there, things that don't make sense. But when the artist steps back, the full picture is revealed, and suddenly everything has meaning. That is what God is doing with your life. Right now, you see scattered brushstrokes. But soon, He will step back and reveal the masterpiece. You will see how every waiting season, every delay, every disappointment was part of a greater picture of beauty and glory. So I say to you today, hold steady. Do not despise the process. Do not envy those who seem to be moving faster. Your story is unique. Your timing is divine. Your breakthrough will be worth the wait. Beloved, heaven has not been silent without reason. Heaven has been working while you've been waiting. And very soon, the reason for the wait will burst forth before your very eyes. Beloved, let us press deeper into this revelation. By now, your heart is beginning to recognize that what felt like denial was actually divine delay. It was not God rejecting you, it was God redirecting you. It was not God forgetting you, it was God fortifying you. And now, you are closer to the unveiling than you think. But here is a spiritual truth you must not overlook. Waiting seasons expose what is hidden in the heart. They bring to the surface the doubts, fears, and attachments that must be surrendered before God can release His next level of blessing into your life. Consider Abraham and Sarah. God promised them a son, but the promise took decades to be fulfilled. Along the way, their impatience gave birth to Ishmael. This was not God's plan, but it revealed something about human nature. When we try to rush God's process, we create unnecessary pain. Yet even then, God's promise did not fail. Isaac was born at the appointed time, not a day too soon and not a day too late. Beloved, this is why you must guard your spirit in the waiting. The enemy loves to whisper in the silence. He will say things like, God has forgotten you. You're wasting your time. Others are being blessed, but not you. These are lies meant to weaken your faith. But remember what Jesus said to Jairus when the news came that his daughter had died. Do not be afraid, only believe. This is your word right now, only believe. Do not let fear take root. Do not let impatience produce Ishmael in your life. The Isaac blessing is worth the wait. Now, let us turn to Joseph. His story is one of the most powerful demonstrations of divine waiting. At 17, he received a dream from God. But instead of being promoted immediately, he was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and thrown into prison. For 13 years, it looked like the dream had died. But in one single day, God lifted Joseph from the prison to the palace. Think about that, years of waiting, then one day of sudden breakthrough. That is how God works. He allows the process to shape you, and then at the appointed time, He releases acceleration. You may feel like you have been stuck in the same place for years, but when God moves, things can shift in an instant. Beloved, I sense this is what God is preparing to do in your life. He has allowed the waiting so that your character, your faith, and your resilience could mature. But the day is coming, sooner than you think, when the doors will swing wide open. What you have been praying for, fasting for, and crying out for will suddenly appear before you. And when it happens, you will understand why it took this long. If Joseph had been promoted earlier, he would not have had the wisdom to manage Egypt during the famine. If David had taken the throne sooner, he would not have learned how to worship in caves and lean fully on God's presence. If Esther had been revealed before her time, she would not have been positioned to save her people. The delay is always connected to destiny. And your destiny, beloved, requires preparation. Now let me address the weariness that has settled in your soul. Some of you feel so tired of waiting that you have thought about giving up. You have wondered, what's the point of praying anymore? What's the point of hoping? Hear this clearly, your prayers are not wasted. The book of Revelation tells us that the prayers of the saints are like incense rising before God's throne. That means every word you have spoken, every tear you have shed, has been collected in heaven. At the appointed time, God will pour out answers in a way that will leave you in awe. I feel strongly to remind you, breakthrough often comes right after the greatest resistance. The enemy fights hardest when he knows you are closest to the promise. That is why your life has felt so heavy lately. That is why the attacks have been so relentless. It is because you are on the verge of seeing why God made you wait this long. Let me declare this prophetically over you, your waiting season is expiring. The time of hiddenness is coming to an end. The doors that seem sealed are about to open with divine ease. God is going to vindicate you before the very eyes of those who doubted you. And when He does, no one will be able to deny that it was His hand that lifted you. Beloved, this is also why it is so important that you keep your heart pure. Waiting can make some people bitter. But bitterness will block your blessing. God is calling you to release the pain, forgive those who hurt you, and trust Him with the outcome. Remember, Joseph did not use his position to take revenge on his brothers. Instead, he said, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." This is the posture of the chosen ones, not revenge, but redemption. Not bitterness, but blessing. You will rise above what was meant to break you, and you will use it to lift others. Now let me leave you with this vision. Imagine yourself standing at the threshold of a great door. For years, it has been closed. You have prayed, you have knocked, you have waited. And suddenly, without warning, the door begins to swing wide open. On the other side is everything God has promised you, the fulfillment of His word, the reward of your patience, the answer to your prayers. You step through, and in that moment, you finally understand, every tear was worth it, every delay was divine, every moment of waiting was leading to this glory. Beloved, get ready. The wait has not been wasted. And soon, you will see with your own eyes why God made you wait this long. Beloved, as we come to this final part of the message, I want you to lean in closely. What I am about to share is not just encouragement, it is prophecy. It is a declaration over your life that what you have endured is not in vain, and what you are about to walk into will redeem every moment of waiting, every trial, every season of silence. The Lord is saying, I made you wait because I was preparing the right conditions for your breakthrough. I made you wait because I was aligning the right people, the right timing, the right resources. I made you wait because I wanted your blessing to be undeniable, unstoppable, and unshakable. When it comes, no one will be able to say it was luck, coincidence, or your own doing. They will know it was my hand. Beloved, think of the farmer who plants seeds. He does not see harvest immediately. Days go by, weeks pass, and it looks as if nothing is happening. But under the soil, life is stirring. Roots are forming. Growth is taking place unseen. Then suddenly, in its season, the harvest breaks through the ground. That is what has been happening in your life. The roots of your destiny have been growing deep while you thought nothing was changing. And now, the Lord says, the time of sprouting has come. The time of visibility has come. The things that were hidden will now be revealed. The fruit that was promised will now be seen. But listen carefully, God is not just giving you back what you lost, He is multiplying it. He is restoring with increase. Job lost everything, but in the end, God blessed him with twice as much as before. That is the principle of divine restoration. You never come out of a trial with less, you come out with more. Your waiting season was not subtraction, it was preparation for multiplication. What God is about to do will be exceedingly, abundantly above all you could ask or think. Now, let me speak to the why. Why did it take this long? Why did God not answer sooner? Beloved, sometimes what you are asking for is smaller than what God has planned. You prayed for something temporary, but He was preparing something eternal. You asked for survival, but He was setting you up for abundance. You thought you needed just enough to get by, but He was preparing to overflow your cup until it runs over. The delay was never denial, it was an upgrade. God was exchanging your small vision for His greater vision. And when He reveals it, you will look back and thank Him for every not yet that frustrated you, because you will see that His timing was perfect. Hear this in your spirit, you are stepping into divine timing. The set time has come. Psalm 102:13 says, You will arise and have mercy on Zion, for the time to favor her, yes, the set time, has come. Beloved, your set time is here. The waiting is ending. The favor is beginning. Do not be surprised when doors begin to open suddenly. Do not be surprised when people who once ignored you are now drawn to bless you. Do not be surprised when opportunities come that you did not apply for, positions you did not qualify for, and blessings you did not expect fall into your lap. This is what happens when God says, Now, beloved, I see visions of shackles falling off your life, shackles of delay, shackles of stagnation, shackles of disappointment. God is breaking the cycle that made you feel stuck. He is releasing acceleration. What took others years will happen for you in months. What seemed impossible will become effortless because the anointing of favor is upon you. But here is the key: as God lifts you, stay rooted in humility. Remember who brought you through. Remember the nights you cried out and He comforted you. Remember the days you had nothing, and He provided anyway. Do not forget the God of the waiting when you step into the blessing. For the chosen ones, promotion is never just about themselves. It is about becoming a vessel for God's glory. Joseph did not sit on the throne just for himself. He was positioned to save nations. Esther was not queen just for her own comfort. She was placed to deliver her people. And you, beloved, are being lifted not just for you, but so others may see the light of God through your life. This is why the waiting was so necessary. Without it, you would not carry the weight of compassion, wisdom, and spiritual authority that you now hold. God has allowed you to taste emptiness so you can pour fullness into others. He has allowed you to walk through pain so you can minister healing. He has allowed you to endure silence so you can speak with power when your voice is finally heard. Beloved, the crown you are about to wear is not just for decoration, it is for service. The blessing you are about to receive is not just for comfort, it is for kingdom advancement. The breakthrough you are stepping into is not just about you, it is about God's glory shining through you. So lift your head high, chosen one. The season of waiting is closing. The Lord says, "Now you will see why I made you wait this long." You will testify that His ways are higher than your ways, His thoughts higher than your thoughts, and His timing more perfect than you could have imagined. Take courage, for the next chapter of your life will not resemble the last. The dry places are being watered. The empty places are being filled. The broken pieces are being restored. And soon, you will step into a season of such joy that you will forget the years of sorrow. As the psalmist declared, "Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy." He who continually goes forth weeping, bearing seed for sowing, shall doubtless come again with rejoicing, bringing his sheaves with him. Psalm 126, 5-6. Beloved, your tears were seeds. And the harvest is now. So prepare your heart. Prepare your spirit. Stay humble, stay faithful, stay expectant. Because very soon, the Lord will show you, with undeniable clarity, why He made you wait this long. And when it happens, your testimony will not just be, "God blessed me." Your testimony will be, "God was with me all along." Amen.